Hi there. I think I made a decision that I'm going to be using this collage for my to do a painting. So I'm going to give you a play-by-play account of the way I work, how I convert an image like this to a painting. And in this case, I've already drawn the image out, and now I'm going to show you how I'm going to paint it. So here's the collage I did, and you probably saw the video that showed how I did that collage. And I'm just working on a very small canvas here. I've already drawn out the collage on a really small canvas, so I have a sheet of paper towels that I use for wiping my brushes. Here's my brushes. They're all really small. I'm going to be working small, so they will be a good size. For a palette, I'm using a small piece of plexiglass, and I coated it with, I covered it with aluminum foil, which I find is really a good way for me to go. When I use up the paints and when I want to change out the palette, I just simply take the aluminum foil off this piece of plexiglass, and then I can replace it with a new piece. So I don't use a lot of turpentine, just every once in a while. Here's a jar of turpentine. These are gum spirit turpentine. Okay, so there's my collage. I have a little easel that I use so I can look at the collage. Typically, for the most part, I work flat right on the table. And there's my palette with my paints all set up, so I'm ready to go. And working flat, usually start at the very top of the canvas and work down. It works for me. Many times I have to brace my hand because the work is rather exacting. So I actually like to work flat and top from the top down. I've used white, alizarin crimson, a little bit of green, a little bit of purple, a little bit of blue. I don't know if there is, I don't really think there is any set formula for mixing colors. I think you mix the colors that you need, and you change them by mixing again if you need to. So this is pretty much going to be a solid area here, because that's the way the collage is. Now what I decided to do is to do the whole area of the collage, this whole beige area, because I didn't want to wait and have the paint dry and then have to try to mix up that color again. So I still have plenty of area that I can work with, brace my hand, and so this works out fine. Many times I have to make decisions as to how to put the paint down, when to put the paint down, and where to put the paint down. It's sort of like a choreography. Okay, I've completed that section, and I think that was a good decision I made to do it all. I've added some dark gradations along the edges to emphasize the paper layering quality, something that when you look at the collage you see, but when you look at a painting, I have to kind of duplicate that physicality. I also graded this a little bit lighter. I added some white and made it a little bit lighter there just for variation. I put a darker edge in here, so I'm just about done. The one thing that I'm going to do is just before the paint sets up and it gets thicker as it dries, I would like to go into this area with a dry brush, a dry soft brush, and just soften those gradations even further. Now I finished the top section here. Made a little graded edge right here, and then I did the trees in this particular part of the collage. So that's done. As far as the texture goes, I will also go into this before the paint sets up completely and work on that texture just a little bit. Here's my collage again, And I just completed this section right here, which was a lot of, that was a lot of fun because of doing the detail, the trees, and the sky, and the water, and everything. To do this area, the first thing I'm going to do is mix up, I'm going to mix up a beige color, and I'm going to do several different, some light and some middle beige colors, and then some dark colors, so that I can do these gradations here. This is dark here, and then it goes over to light. So I will have those colors done first. So I mixed up some white, some burnt sienna, and I'll put some blue in it to tone it down a little bit. So I have my color for the outside frame, and first I'm just going to put that color down, and and then I'm going to put the configuration in there on the frame. That was fun. That was a fun section. And then now I did the background behind Charlie, and now I'm working on Charlie because I have to, in the collage, the photo is kind of blurred. So I can only do that with the background wet. So I'm going to start painting Charlie in now while the background is wet, and hopefully I can get him done. Here's the collage, and here is, I finished Charlie. I think he came out pretty well. And I finished this side here. So the next is, I'm just going to do this gradation, which is going to be very simple. It's sort of a strata of color, and that should be a lot of fun. I'm going to leave this out. This is like a golf club. I'm going to leave that out and then just do this landscape here. There's a foot down there that I'm not going to be putting in either. Well, here is my finished painting. I had a lot of fun doing this. This, of course, is the painting that I actually just completed, but it's dry now. And here's the collage that I worked from. This is very interesting because I never worked this way before. I've worked with photos, but I've never worked with a collage. And I found some interesting things out, that a collage painting like this is basically little paintings inside of big paintings. And so with each image that I dealt with, I had to deal with different techniques. This is a wonderful way of really learning how to paint, because the gradation here, I had to do the image of Charlie. I made it very soft because I didn't want it to occupy the whole subject matter. In fact, in many cases, like the landscapes here, 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 and here are clearer and have more contrast than the photo does. So I had to make a decision on the background because obviously in this collage there is just a white background, and I decided, I actually did 3 different colors. I did a gray, I did a green, and then I ended up with this blue. Somehow the background color is very, very important in this, also because it's a wraparound canvas. I decided to do the sides lighter and do the actual painting, the front of it darker. Recommend working this way, making the collage first, and then painting it as faithfully as you can, because you learn a lot about the various effects. I obviously had to get this configuration here of the frame. That took some doing. And then I found out that in doing this, the edges are really important, because it's the edges that create the illusion of papers put together. Maybe, you know, this all represents a kind of a time zone. So some of the images are taken from magazines and they're quite contemporary, but then there's a photo that's a couple years old, and I thought if I could bring together maybe some older photos and some newer photos and then just some images to enhance them, that would be really interesting subject matter.